Derpy was sitting alone in one of the towers, looking out the window solemnly as she tried to forget the dream she had had. Babs had made it sound so easy, but it was weighing on Derpy's entire being like a lead vest. She wasn't even sure if the Luna in the dream was the real Luna.
There you are,
said a brisk voice, and Derpy turned to see Inky and Blinkie entering the room. It had been Blinkie who had spoken.
We've been looking everywhere for you.
What's wrong? Asked Inky Pie, noting the absence of Derpy's usually cheery demeanor.
I had a bad dream last night,
said Derpy, hanging her head.
Babs told me to forget about it, but it's really, really hard. I don't know what to do.
Inky Pie came over to rub the Pegasus's shoulder, but Blinkie furrowed her brow in thought. She looked around the room they were in, and then clopped her hoof on the floor.
I have an idea,
she exclaimed.
Inky Pie, come with me.
Okay, said Inky slowly, but she followed her sister as instructed. Derpy inhaled deeply, and then let out a long exhale, looking out the window again. After a few minutes, the sisters re-entered the room, with as many buckets of paint and paintbrushes as they could carry. Derpy glanced around at them, and then stood to get a better look. Inky and Blinkie set everything down with a grunt.
What's all this?
asked Derpy.
We're gonna have a little fun,
said Blinkie Pie. She took a paintbrush in her mouth, dipped it in a bucket of blue, and tossed her head so that the paint flew onto the wall. Oh! said Inky Pie with a smile. Instead of using a paintbrush, she dipped her tail in red and whipped it in the air to make a great streak on the wall. Oh wow, that feels good. Give it a try, Derpy. Derpy considered the colors for a moment, and then she dipped one wing in yellow and one in pink. Then, she faced a blank wall and flapped, splattering the colors everywhere. She cheered with delight.
That's fun!
she cried. Blinkie Pie held a paintbrush in each hoof, along with one in her mouth, and all of them went into separate colors. She hit the wall with the bristles over and over again, giggling with joy. Inky Pie used both her tail and her hooves, purposely leaving colorful hoof prints all over the floor. Derpy took advantage of her flight and painted high above the other two, also using her tail and hooves. It was a rainbow mess. All three girls squealed with mirth, giggling, throwing paint at each other as well as the walls and floors. Not bothering with drawing any pictures, this was all about the chaos. This was venting. This was a distraction. The trio took a break, panting, smiles still on their faces. They looked around at their work.
We need glitter,
said Blinkie. If we leave, we're gonna track paint all around the castle, Inky laughed.
Wowie zowie, what happened?
cried a familiar voice, and they all turned to see Pinkie Pie in the doorway, and she had the rest of the team behind her.
Don't come in,
ordered Blinkie Pie.
Your hooves are still clean. Can you go get glitter? I can do better than glitter.
Pinkie slammed her party cannon on the floor, and it exploded out both glitter and different shapes of confetti.
I want to paint,
exclaimed Minkie Pie softly, and she trotted over to a can of orange, dipping her hoof in it. The end of her mane slid across the floor, smearing the paint below as she moved. Now that the others were getting their frustrations out too, the room was crowded and 10 times as messy. They shared the party can, sticking glittering confetti to the walls. There was so much mess, they all decided that there was no way they'd leave the room without dragging paint around the castle, so they didn't care. Once the 7 of them got everything out, they walked to a water spout and washed off. Derpy was her old cheery self again, so mission accomplished.
By the way,
said Babs to Inky Pie,
you didn't explain why you started that Splatterfest.
Derpy's nightmare was bothering her, Inky muttered to Babs so that Derpy wouldn't hear. I don't want to bring it up again in case she slips back.
Gotcha,
said Babs, winking. After that, there was no mention of the dream. It seemed like it had quite literally left Derpy's mind completely. Even when discussing strategies to kill the princesses, Derpy wasn't reminded of what Dream Luna said to her. She just listened to Pinkie Pie telling them all that they were unstoppable, and that taking down the princesses would be easy.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Derpy cheered, clapping, and every pony laughed with her.